Have you ever walked into a room and felt people read your uncertainty before you said a single word? You have not spoken yet, but the room is already deciding. They notice your posture. They notice your pace. They notice whether your presence feels settled or slightly unsure. One person says nothing and still gets respect. Another says nothing and already feels easier to dismiss. That silent difference changes everything. Most people think respect begins when they start talking, when they sound smart, when they explain clearly, when they prove they belong in the room. But in many rooms, that is already too late. Because respect often begins before language. It begins with signals, your pace, your posture, your hands. Your eyes are checking reactions before your point even exists. Nothing looks dramatic. But people feel it. They feel when someone is settled, and they feel when someone is already negotiating for space. That is the hidden loss. Not that your ideas are weak, but your body revealed hesitation before your words had any chance to build authority. And once people feel that, they interrupt faster, dismiss more easily, and lower your status without ever saying it out loud. So if you have ever wondered why some people get respect before they make a point, while others speak well and still struggle to hold the room, it usually starts here. Not with words, with presence. You have not made a point yet, but the room has already placed you. You step in. A few people glance up. Someone keeps typing. Someone barely slows down. And in those first seconds, your body says something before your mouth ever does. Not with words, not with pace, with shoulders, with how settled or slightly hurried your movements feel. That is the part most people miss. People do not wait for your first sentence to decide how to treat you. They feel you first. They feel at ease or they feel pressure. They feel someone who is here, or someone who is trying to land well too quickly. And once they feel pressure, the room changes. They interrupt sooner. They trust your words less. They test your space more easily. They feel less need to slow down for you. That is why two people can walk into the same room, say almost nothing, and still be received very differently. One looks settled. The other looks like a tension is already moving him around. This is deeply Stoic, because Stoicism was never about performing strength. It was about inner order. A person who belongs to himself first does not leak panic through movement. And that changes the social temperature before any argument begins. So the first shift is not sound more powerful. It is stopping the signal that lowers you before you even start. And this is where it turns expensive. You walk into the room already trying to land well. You smile a little too early. You speed up your steps. You adjust your energy before your body has even settled. It does not look dramatic. It looks polite, professional, easy to work with. But the room feels something else. It feels like you are trying to make acceptance happen fast. And that changes everything. Because when your presence starts with adjustment, your words enter from a lower place. Now people do not just hear your point. They feel that you want a good reaction from them. That is why they cut across you sooner. That is why your sentences feel easier to move past. That is why even a smart point can land lighter than it should. Most people try to fix this by improving the wording. Sharper sentence, cleaner explanation, better tone. But the problem started earlier than language. It started the moment your body asked, "Am I okay here?" The Stoic Correction is smaller than people think. Do not enter if already negotiating. Let the room wait a second. Let your feet arrive. Let your shoulders settle. Let your face stop asking to be liked. Because the moment your body stops seeking permission, your words stop sounding optional. They start sounding placed. And people feel that before they understand why. So what does uncertainty actually looks like before you speak? Usually not in extreme ways people imagine. Not shaking hands. Not an obvious fear. Not some dramatic collapse everyone can see. Most of the time, it shows up in smaller leaks. You enter too quickly, like you are trying to catch up to the room. You sit down too fast instead of arriving first in your own body. Your eyes start scanning for reactions immediately, as if you need to know whether you are safe there. Your hands become busy. Your shoulders pull in. Your breathing gets shorter. Your movements lose simplicity. Nothing in that says weakness out loud. But together, it creates a feeling. A feeling that you are not settled. A feeling that your energy is trying to adapt too fast. A feeling that your presence depends a little too much on how others receive it. And people feel that. They may never say it directly. They may never even understand why are they doing it. But they respond to it. They interrupt you because your space does not feel fully claimed. They move ahead of you because your presence does not feel anchored yet. They talk over you because your body already suggested you might yield. This is where many people get the story wrong. They think, people disrespect me because others are rude. Sometimes that is true. But many times, disrespect grows faster when your body quietly teaches people that your space is movable. That is the real danger. Not one bad moment, a repeated signal. Because once people feel that you rush, adjust, or shrink under attention, they begin expecting access. They expect to cut in. They expect you to speed up. They expect you to explain more. They expect you to recover instead of holding. And expectations shape behavior. This is why presence matters so much more than most people realize. Presence is not an image. It is not performance. It is not pretending to be important. It is whether your body says, I am here, I am settled, and I do not need to rush myself into acceptance. That message lands before any argument does. And once it lands, your words stop entering from a lower position. They enter from steadiness. That is when people begin to feel the difference even before they know how to describe it. And this is where most people make the second mistake. They feel the room reading them weakly, even if only a little, and they try to fix it with words. They talk sooner. They talk more. They explain their point before the moment even asks for it. Because once you sense that your presence did not land well, panic starts looking for recovery. As now you want to sound sharper. Now you want to prove you belong there. Now you want your words to repair what your body already made uncertain. But that usually makes it worse, because the more you rush to compensate verbally, the more the room feels that same instability again. Now it is not only in your posture, it is in your delivery. Your tone gets thinner. Your sentences get longer. You add too much context. You answer before the room has fully turned toward you. So instead of creating authority, you create effort. And effort is what people hear when someone is trying to earn the space instead of occupying it. That is the trap. The disrespect is no longer the main story. Your need to recover yourself becomes the story. So do less. Do not rush to repair the image. Do not explain before the moment asks. Or let the room fill the gap. Because authority returns the moment you stop feeding the signal that lowered you in the first place. So, what is the correction? It starts before you speak. If uncertainty leaks through movement, authority has to return through movement too. First, pace. Do not rush yourself into acceptance. Walk in. Let your feet arrive. Let your shoulders settle. Let your breath drop. Because of rushed movement tells the room your nervous system already belongs to them. Settled movement says the opposite. I am here. I am composed. I do not need to speed myself up to deserve space. Second, stop shrinking. Most people get smaller the moment they are seen. Their shoulders pull in. Their hands get busy. Their frame starts apologizing before anything has happened. That is not humility. That is surrendering too early. So keep your frame, not rigid, not fake, just yours. Because when your body stops collapsing under attention, your words stop climbing uphill. They start landing from steadiness, and people trust steadiness more than effort. But self-possession becomes real only when the room starts testing it. That is the moment that matters most. A meeting starts. People are already talking. The energy feels fast. You walk in and immediately feel that old pressure. Catch up, blend in, say something soon, show that you belong. That is where the old pattern begins, and if you do not catch it, your body will move before your mind does. You rush to your seat, rush your smile, rush your first sentence, rush to show usefulness before you have shown steadiness. This is why Stoic control begins with interruption, not interrupting other people, interrupting your own impulse. You feel the urge to hurry. Do not obey it. You feel the urge to scan every face for approval. Do not obey it. You feel the urge to speak too early just to secure your place. Do not obey it. That is discipline. Because every time you refuse that impulse, you stop teaching your body that being seen is in danger. And people feel that quickly. They feel that when someone does not scramble. They feel that when someone does not hand the room their nervous system. They feel that when someone can stay simple under pressure. That simplicity reads as power. Because most people become noisy the moment they feel uncertain. Noisy in movement, noisy in expression, noisy in speech. But the person who stays measured changes the room without forcing it. That is when respect starts becoming visible. Not because you performed confidently, because nothing in you looked eager to be accepted at the cost of your own center. And this is where it becomes identity. Because people who carry respect before they speak are usually not thinking, "How do I look confident?" They are carrying a quieter decision. I do not walk into rooms asking other people to tell me what I am worth. That is the shift. Because the body always reveals what the mind is waiting for. If part of you is waiting for the room to approve you, your movements will show it. You will hurry. You will adjust too fast. You will try to land well before you have even arrived. But when that need starts dying, something changes immediately. Attention hits you and you do not scramble. The room feels fast and you do not speed up with it. Now a silence appears and you do not rush to fill it just to prove you belong there. That is what people feel. Not perfect posture, not some performance of confidence. They feel that you are still yours while being seen. And that changes how your words land. Because now your presence is not asking for a verdict. It is giving the room something solid to read. This is why quiet authority has so much weight. It is not built from a good reaction. It is built from not handing yourself over to the room before the room has even spoken. So the real practice is simple. Enter. Notice the pressure. Do not obey it. Let your body stay yours. Let the room be the room. And when you can do that, respect no longer begins with the sentence. It begins the moment you arrive. So the lesson is not to act important. It is to stop putting pressure move your body before it ever reaches your words. Because that is where respect is often lost first. In the rush, in the shrinking, in the silent apology your body makes before your mouth even opens. Most people think they need better lines. Sometimes they do. But many times, what they really need is to stop entering rooms like they must be approved before they can exist inside them. That is the reframe. Respect does not begin when people agree with you. Very often, it begins the moment your presence stops asking for permission. So the next time you enter a room, do not focus first on what you will say. Return to your pace. Return to your breath. Return to your frame. Let your body stay yours before your words ask the room for anything. That is how respect starts before a word. If this spoke to something real in you, subscribe. This is where we practice calm strength, self-possession, and quiet authority. And tell me in the comments, what kind of room makes your body rush the most?